I gave this message originally 20 years ago this year at a family reunion. It happened to be on Father's Day. At the time, I just intended it to be helpful. But at the end, some of the family members were in tears because they found healing and release from their past and present struggles. I didn't know it would also be the last family reunion with my granddad, who passed away that following spring. Well, much has happened since then, both in the world and in my own personal life. Global devastation, terrorist attacks, natural disasters, plagues, hunger, financial crises. Personally, going through a lot of struggles as well in my own family. I remember, too, some very challenging times in my ministry. There was a season when I was doing almost 3-to-1 funerals to weddings. And even now, I'm still doing more funerals than weddings to this day. Since that time as well, my family has been ripped apart in different ways, traumatized on many levels, and it just doesn't seem to stop. I've gone through some tough times where I got to the point of praying and crying out to God, bless me, curse me, just let me hear your voice. It seemed like God was silent. I've cried out in pain and prayed very selfish prayers, begging God to look at me, listen to me, pay attention to me. Seems like he's paying attention to everyone else but me. A number of people did that to Jesus in the scriptures as well, crying out to him, trying to get his attention, only to find, just as I have, that he was already paying attention to them, ready and willing to give them his full attention and help them. Now, you won't care about all the details of my pain because you have your own pain. You've suffered loss, you've faced death, you've been hurt, you've had your family torn apart, you've had habits and addictions you can't break or deal with, you've had financial struggles, you've been homeless, you've been jobless, you've had physical limitations placed upon you, you've been slandered and ridiculed and falsely accused, you've been taken advantage of, you've been abused, you've been depressed, you've been violated, you've been cheated and betrayed, you've been robbed of opportunities. You've had things happen to you that don't seem to happen to anyone else. You've been abandoned. You've been ignored. You've been denied. You've been frustrated and angry, even with God. You've been alone in your misery. You've never been validated or believed. You have questions that never get answered. Well, this message is for those who hurt, from one who has hurt and who hurts with them. And over the years, I've revised and added to this message. Originally, I titled it, Why Bad Things Happen. Since then, I've renamed it, Why Am I Suffering? And then, I'm talking to my wife, from a comment that she made, I finally settled on, why am I still suffering? That seemed much more accurate and appropriate and applicable to us and many that I minister to and counsel with. To a certain extent, everyone expects to suffer, some. But why still? Why doesn't it stop? Why does it keep going? There's never an end. So that seemed a more relevant title to questions being asked of me and by me. Now, other people have addressed this issue of suffering before me many times. And sadly, some say suffering shows that God is weak. They say God is wishy-washy, He doesn't care, or that He just doesn't exist. Well, those are all incorrect. Suffering doesn't mean those things. And that's kind of a cop-out. It becomes kind of a lazy excuse. It's definitely a lack of faith and a denial of the evidence if you really take the time to look at it, even through your pain. But it's also believed by desperate, hurting people in their human limitations. So I don't fault people for coming to those conclusions out of their pain, out of their hurt, out of their desperation. I don't mean to sound offensive to them when I say, they're wrong. I've struggled with some of those things myself. Now, I can't say I can offer exhaustive answers, but like before at my family reunion, I hope it will be helpful.